Hello, everyone. I am extremely happy to welcome you at our interview. Today, we have the special guest, Max Koretskyi.
Hey.
Hi, Max.
Hey.
Max is the creator of Angular in Dev, and today we'll have the pleasure to discuss the current state of the blog and what will happen with it in the future. Then we will also discuss the current state of the Angular Renaissance and how it can fit into current IT and industry. And at the end, we will discuss slightly about the Max current activity, what he is currently doing in his career. And yeah, probably that's it. So Max, in 2017, you have started the blog Angular in Dev. I remember it as a great resource of knowledge, and especially in pretty advanced topics, and especially in 2017, because right now maybe change detection is topic is more common, but then in the past your blog post was one of the first who really explored it in depth. So maybe if you can tell us at the beginning what's motivate you to create, how it started with the blog, and how this journey of your blog looks like till today.
Yeah, sure. So I think it started as a personal blog of mine. I was writing mostly for myself because, yeah, it was just the beginning of Angular and there was very little knowledge, like you said, specifically like change detection and other topics. So I was diving deep into the sources and was trying to understand how this technology works. And so that I remembered, I was putting it into text and publishing it. Of course, I had some ideas about how it would be great if it was public, if people would get that knowledge. But in the beginning, it was very few people read it, published it on medium.com at the time. But then over time, as I was writing more and more, consequently, more and more people read it. And then I started offering people to join and become co-authors.
Yeah.
And then we came up with this brand name, Angular in Depth. And so it was no longer me, it was a lot of people who were treating it.
So you just created the huge community around this brand, which is Angular in Dev. And also in recent time, we notice as an Angularlove, because we are just the blog, but we also following other blogs. And as I said originally, you have been some kind of the inspiration also for us with your in-depth topics, that there is some kind of the stagnation in your blog nowadays. Yeah. So if you can maybe say why it's.
Yes, indeed. We see numbers going down, and mainly this is due to the fact that for the last 3 years I've been very involved in a startup that we're building, and originally I thought that I would be able to basically do two things together, but as some of you may know, work in a startup is it's demanding job. So I didn't have time to work on it. I haven't written much, and the community unfortunately started to die down. So this is
the
reason. Yeah.
Okay. So, because I think at this point we can like reveal some secret, and then maybe the fact that as Angularlove, we reach out to you due to the fact that we have been inspired, and we really loved your community to with proposal to merge it, and finally we make it the truth. So we will merge Angularlove with Angular in Dev, with the huge vision to create the centralized place for all kind of the Angular developers. It doesn't matter what kind of the level of knowledge they have, since Angularlove is the place where we have right now beginners and medium level articles. Angular in Dev is the place where we have pretty tough topics, and thanks to this merge, as we can say in the developer language, we will be able to create a huge community with centralized place where they can gain the knowledge. So
yeah. Indeed, I think it's a great opportunity for both Angular in Depth and Angularlove And the thing is with Angular in depth is that so few things that were missing, I think, is the one is we always focus on like team leads, technical leads, architectures. So the knowledge that we had there was super advanced, or at least maybe was less usable by developers who don't architect solutions, right? And or maybe those who are less focused on performance. So, and we didn't have anything to offer for engineers, middle engineers, right, or people who want to begin their journey. And I think in that regard, when we merge the blocks, it's great because on Angularlove you do target that audience. You do produce content that is valuable for that audience. And also, on the other hand, we didn't have many articles published because, again, we only published like deep dives and very, very advanced type of knowledge. And it was really hard for us to find people who were willing to spend time and had the knowledge to write that kind of content.
Okay.
So now when we put it all together, I think what I know about Angularlove, right, is that you guys spend a lot of time mentoring new writers, and you do accept a lot of articles, and then you make sure you devote time to build a quality content. This is something that I had never had time to do, unfortunately.
So that's how we are working, and that's also our vision for the future, to just create the centralized place for all kind of the Angular developers where the knowledge will be verified. We make like each other review of our articles before we publish it. So it's also a good sign for everyone who would like to start with publishing that you are not alone there. You can just join our community, share your article with us. There is a group of the people who are always reviewing, giving the feedback. There are girls from the marketing who just help you create the graphic, publish your article. So it's really the great place to gain the knowledge right now, because we have like the centralized full spectrum of knowledge regarding the Angular, but also the great place to start blogging about Angular if you are willing to do, since you're just getting the people with already some background and experience in publishing. So again, we are extremely happy that we can make it the truth, that we can save the Angular in depth, which was also the origin for a lot of Angular developers, like the first blog they started gaining huge knowledge with. So that was the main reason why we are meeting together. But right now we can also discuss about some maybe other stuff regarding the Angular and how you just see the future of the Angular. So if you can say whether you just track right now what's going on in Angular, and what are your thoughts about the recent changes?
Of course I follow what is happening, and I'm really happy to see the they call it Renaissance, right? Angular Renaissance, because a lot of new features have been added, the features that are really needed, like SSR, right? Because most of the time, for example, if you needed super fast, like landing page kind of website, you would prefer React because it was faster. It was simpler to work with. But now Angular also is trying to get into that niche. And then the switch from RxJS to Signals, right, which everybody talks about right now, I think is also very interesting because we need to be honest that RxJS was maybe over-engineered solution for lots of use cases, and I saw a lot of code bases that were bloated with RxJS, although by itself is great technology and it does have.
But it was also the trap, even for those who don't know it well, and also for those who know it very well, because they overcomplicate it, and some other people made like huge mistakes where they didn't unsubscribe or something, So
right. It happened exactly like oftentimes I would, when I would do a code review, I would ask a question: is there a need there for RxJS wrapper, or
Yeah.
can we just do with the simple property on the class, component class, right? And then because although like I and others who currently work at the company may know well that technology, when we onboard somebody new who, for example, a lot of developers who do Angular today came from backend, right?
Yeah.
Who did Java and other stuff. So they may not be that familiar with RxJS. And so I always try to simplify it. And so and signals to me look very understandable concept, right? Pretty easy to follow through, and yeah.
Yeah.
So answering your question, yeah, I follow up, and I'm really happy with the way things are going right now. And
yeah. So also regarding the change detection, so with the signal base, we'll probably get the new change detection mechanism. Yeah. So that's also pretty interesting. That one of the most hard to understand for developer concepts will be changed as well during this renaissance, probably.
yeah, yes, especially so when we talk about change detection, we usually when I talk about change detection, usually mean two things. It's the mechanism of basically rendering state into the browser page. And this is where this IV engine was a complete rewrite, and it introduced a lot of like instruction-based approach. And the second part is, so this is like we're starting from the top component, we're going down, and then we just update the screen. So this is first part. The second part is, when do we start this change detection process, right? And what Signals is going to bring about is changes to the second part, right?
Yeah.
We will no longer use Zone.js, or that's the idea, and we will have granular change detection to that. We don't need to run change detection on the entire components tree, but sub components.
Yeah, more granularity.
Whereas like I recently wrote an article which is on Angularlove right now. Where you can read, because I see sometimes that people talk and say that like with signals-based approach, interjection is going to be changed. So in fact, change detection, this part that renders stuff, is not going to be changed. There are a few things that they added, which again I outlined in the article, but overall the rendering mechanism stays the same. It's the second part that triggers change detection, and how Angular tracks changes in your component state. That's what's going to be changed.
Yeah. So we strongly encourage you to take a look at the Max recent article at Angularlove. Okay, so as you mentioned before, that current state of any front-end framework is focused on the reactivity. There are different forms of reactivity in various frameworks, but recently that was one of the main topic in multiple frameworks like Solid, Angular, Preact, also using the signals. And the second was the SSR. Yeah, Angular, even initially when it was created, there was no support for SSR. Right now, it's probably must have to every kind of the front-end framework we can think of. So what do you think might be the future for Angular, for front-end frameworks, like another key point, milestone in terms of functionalities and so on?
I think it depends on, like, there's a huge topic, AI, right now. Everybody talks about LLMs. And I do a lot of work with LLMs at the current startup I'm in. I think going forward, we are going to see simplification or adaptation of the way you work with the framework with the help of the AI tools. So it's hard for me to say, to even imagine what that could be like. But for example, recently what I noticed is that LLMs help you a lot more work better with declarative style of programming. And so most front-end frameworks right now are already declarative style, right? You say that this is how my template's going to look, this is where I insert data. But still, inside the component and services in particular, we still have lots of imperative kind of code,
Mhm.
right? Procedural. So maybe this is the next part because, from my perspective, uh, the integration layer between component state and rendering, and
Mhm.
basically what you see on the screen, is already good enough, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, super fast, and now with this granular change detection is going to be super fast, you know.
Yeah.
So that I think, especially for Angular, because it's more like an enterprise kind of framework
Mhm.
where we often talk not only about components but also like services and stuff where we put business logic.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where the
Mhm.
framework could focus next and just enable different mechanisms
Mhm.
to perform certain tasks
Mhm.
in a more declarative way.
Yeah.
Routing, maybe, you know.
Yeah. I
But
know.
that's just an idea.
Yeah.
I
We don't know.
I
Yeah.
have
We know what
knowledge.
they
Yeah, yeah,
just show us that they're working on
yeah,
already.
yeah,
And okay, but you said also AI, so maybe we can move to discuss a little bit about the IT industry and the current job market, how it looks like right now for developers, and
yeah. Mm-hmm.
what is your opinion? Because what we can hear, and as when we organize the meetups, meet with the community, that often the people who are just beginning of the journey with programming, that it's pretty tough for them to find job right now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if we maybe talk about this one and how AI fit into these problems, whether that's the reason or.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult topic to
Mm-hmm.
discuss because I think, like at this point, with this AI hype,
Mm-hmm.
but also certain things that it can accomplish, right? It's not just, not all of it is just hype. So it is really powerful technology. Even governments are,
Mm-hmm. Investing,
yeah, and thinking, what are we going to do? How it's going to impact stuff. So,
mm-hmm. Yeah, because it
uh,
might have the huge political impacts as well,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and social impact.
It's also, yeah, yeah, it is a change. And certainly for people who just beginning their journey into this
Mm-hmm.
technical world, it is a challenge as well, the introduction of this stuff, but also it can be a tool that can help them. So it's hard for me to give like specific advice, you know, but I can give an advice that is specific to doing a business.
Mm-hmm.
So they say, you know, those rich people, they say that you should always do business, the type of business or the industry that you're interested in, that you're
Mm-hmm.
curious about.
Yeah.
Because even if the business fails, you know, you don't feel like you wasted your years doing
Mm-hmm.
something that you didn't like.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's the same thing. Like, focus on or try to find within, because the technology is huge, right? We have
Yeah.
lots of areas, lots of directions. Find the things that you're curious about, then study those, uh, grow into those areas, and use AI as a guidance.
Yeah.
Use it help, and yeah. So that, I mean, you're always ready to. So you will have some knowledge, some basic knowledge, and then maybe foundations, and that you will be ready to switch and adapt to the direction that we are going to
Yeah.
see with the. It all depends on how this AI thing
Yeah,
changes,
so
right?
we are reaching to the point when we can say that like being the developer or just being in the IT industry is like constant learning. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what you exactly said. That do what you're interested. If something change, you will need to adapt and repeat, repeat. Yeah, because it's constantly things are changing. When you have been starting, when I have been starting, we have been doing things differently. Right now, we are doing things differently, and in the future, which will be done differently probably. So how do you find the motivation to gain knowledge, to constantly learn? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, it's mostly curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can say you have a job for 8 hours.
Yeah.
How do you find motivation for these 8 hours? To me, it's curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have another 5 to 8 hours that is after job. how do you find your motivation for that? And well, to be honest, to me, this is like a goal that I want to reach, like maybe financial goal, maybe have some less dependence on the government because, you know, not all countries can guarantee uh, pensions and, you know, so to me, this is some kind of financial independence. And so that is the goal, that is the motivation for the extra, you know, because but not many people need to go that route because when I was younger, I thought like everyone should work 20 hours and then just sleep 4 hours, you know.
4 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
But a few minutes ago, you said that you are just close to your midday nap, yeah, and we should hurry on with the interview.
Yeah, but I'm getting older, yes. But then it depends on your goals, right? But I still think that like if you want to reach financial independence, it's very difficult to do that working just regular hours.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
But yeah, it's tough to work in regular hours, but also it's tough to, you know, start simply with just great business idea. You have to start somewhere. Yeah, you need to work maybe these regular hours in just 9-17 job as we call it, and then after hours.
Yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. Yeah. And a lot of people do that not for maybe financial reasons, but as a self-development. For example, we see a lot of open source projects that people do on weekends, on evenings.
Yeah.
There's actually a great book, forgot the name for it, but about open source. It's very, very, very rough industry to be in, actually. So, like, we don't pay for it. Companies don't pay for it.
That's pretty uncommon, yeah, that you get really something what can serve as a crucial point of your business in the technical aspect, of course, but you don't pay anything for that one, yeah? Like a lot of apps probably have some kind of the stage management library, if we talk about the Angular or some other libraries, and don't spend even 1 minute to create them, yeah?
Yeah. So, but we can, this is the way things are, but what people can gain from it is maybe experience, recognition, right? Some public awareness that,
they might give them value after some time when they put like huge amount of work first.
But it like from my standpoint, it has to be valuable. Whatever you create has to be valuable, and it's very difficult to get to something valuable from the first try, right? You just try, you get lucky, people use what you've created, success. This rarely happens. It does happen.
Yeah. So to summarize, like how I see it is it like this motivation and reason you are able to work so hard are just strictly personal. So there is no great guideline or just key points to keep yourself motivated, and if someone else will like right now repeat these steps should be motivated, yeah, like each of us have different aspects of the motivation. And
of course it depends on what country they live in, what are their circumstances. Maybe they, I don't know, marry early, have 4 kids. It's difficult to work extra hours after that. But so you should, but curiosity is always there, because I think that's what I look for on job interviews when people come to me and they so I ask them, like, what is the last book you read, right? Just to show me that what you're doing, at least you're curious about. And even this is also an interesting question that I ask: what is the one thing that you believe you have 100% knowledge of, or like 90% knowledge of, you know? Because I don't like, for example, if you take JavaScript, I don't ask them, what is this, what is that?
Okay. So
you tell me what you think you know super well, and then we will discuss that, you know? And if you can teach me, then maybe you are good, you know?
So you're looking only for the people that can teach you in the area they are feeling good, yeah?
No, at least they show that they have good knowledge, you know? And it's surprising that most people say, well, I don't know, I think I know everything pretty good. This is like 2 kind of people. Either those who know everything very good or those who know nothing.
Yeah.
It's rarely when people say, Well, you know about this area, I'm not sure, but I like read a book and then spent 2 nights trying to understand how this, I don't know, array mutation works.
So you have like pretty interesting way of doing the this sorry, interviews, yeah, with the people, like asking them from this way what you feel good at, and just let's talk about this.
Yeah. Because they should be comfortable with what they know, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
if I give them just something from the internet that is meant to trick people,
Yeah, so
I don't learn how he will perform on the job. Right?
So it's not the direction you are going, like the huge companies that you ask about the specific algorithms and so on and so on. Yeah,
they do it differently because they are big companies. So I never worked at a company of that size. So if you get, I don't know, like thousands of candidates, you need to be able to have a process to.
Yeah.
That's called like standardized interview, where you just mostly ask same questions and measure them on the same criteria. So it's hard to say for me from the. Yeah.
So we ask what will be your advice for the people, how you motivate yourself. So maybe what people should avoid when they are just joining the industry right now. Maybe something spending time on. Maybe
Instagram.
Yeah. Should avoid.
YouTube Shorts, TikTok.
Where they can find you. Twitter, they should spend more time on Twitter.
I'm too old, I'm not on any social media now. But I think they should. Oh, okay, I know. So I listened to the interview, this guy, Karpathy, you know, the AI guy, Andrew Karpathy, something like that, I don't remember. So he said that lots of people today watch these short movies on YouTube or Instagram.
Yeah.
That teach you, that sort of teach you, you know, they kind of explain very basic concepts very quickly, and it creates an impression that you know that stuff.
Okay.
You know, but then if you ask a person, they cannot repeat it. So it's like superficial learning, you know?
Yeah.
And so that is, I think, is maybe
maybe
not something to avoid, but not to make it 100% of your learning journey.
So we reach the point where we discuss which maybe resources for learning are good and which are bad. Yeah, so we should avoid this impression from YouTube where you can shorts of the YouTube, because someone might have the great course there that give you impression or feeling like Angular in 30 minutes, something like that, that you gain the knowledge and you already know it in this time, because it's somehow the clickbait. Yeah, so where
maybe it's good just to get the idea of what Angular is about. So maybe you use that, and then you watch a few shorts, and then you complement it with some exercises, and then when you're ready, you buy a book and you go in depth. So that could be like a full journey. The problem is when you look Angular in 30 minutes, PHP in 30 minutes, Java in 30 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
And then you go to a job and you say...
Angularlove right now merged with Angular in Depth. We are trying to create a place where people can learn as well, gain the knowledge. So right now, maybe let's go to discuss slightly about the things you are currently doing, because at the beginning you said you're working in the startups. So maybe let's start with saying what exactly your startup is working on, if you can introduce us to this.
So what we're doing is we're trying to find a way to automate processes within organizations that are specific to, that require analytics. So you can think of processes within organizations as like CRM based. So what is CRM based process? Basically, sales process, right? You create a record in a database where you type in information that about say some customer, and then there are defined steps on how this flow should proceed. Go to maybe, I don't know, do more research, schedule a meeting, etc. So this kind of process is pretty easy to automate, and there are lots of companies who currently already offer solutions for automations for that stuff. Whereas you may have analytics-based approach, where based on certain, like first you have to do compute, you have to collect the data from tomorrow, You have to run certain analysis on it, do maybe some, they call it data enrichment, where you add certain data to whatever you already have. Then it may go through some validation processes. Then it may be rendered on a dashboard. Somebody may have a decision. So it's a lot more involved than simply just going through defined steps. And there are very few companies, or actually, like, we don't think there are any that at this point offer very good solution to automate this kind of workflow. And with the advancement of AI, we think that it is possible today. Like introducing, for example, unstructured data. So you may have like a table with the records, which is structured data, but then you can have a PDF document that was produced yesterday by your, I don't know, marketing department, right? And then you have to extract information from that PDF and apply it somehow to the data. And based on that, decide what to do.
So you want to like automate this process of like distinguishing what's in this PDF, like let your AI to understand it somehow, to simplify it and merge together these data sources, do some analysis based on it, and then just
even build a workflow so that the workflow is not predefined. The workflow is defined at the moment AI gets the information. Like, let's say government every morning issues certain compliance procedures that you have to go through. So, and it's very difficult to automate that. You would have to have a person who reads that, then like maybe goes and adds even to your card where you type in information, right? The government yesterday required just name, today it requires last name. Somebody has to add a possibility to input last name.
Missing data.
Yeah. And so we think that AI can do that, can read the document and just modify your process.
Okay. So it means that also not only data analysis will be there done by the AI, but also the workflow is pretty dynamic, case by case. So it's not always going through the same workflow. As we can usually imagine the process in some
yes. That's how they think today about. So model by itself can produce not ideal results from the first try. So then you have a number of agents that communicate to each other, and so it's an iterative process, and then there is an agreement that we go a certain way. Same things.
Pretty interesting. Because we can think of an AI as a great tool to analyze data, suggest something also, but to optimize the process or just create a dynamic workflow based on the need is also something impressive. Okay, so you have been working in the various, let's say, type of the companies, So you have working in the consulting, you have been working in the startup. So can you just give us insight? What's the work in this particular kind of the types of the industries? I don't know whether company types looks like from the developer perspective, maybe.
So I think the easiest is big enterprise, where you have lots of people. If you're sick, somebody else can have a job done, right? Then, but it's also more relaxed. So if you are like for work-life balance, it's better to go to enterprise. Then consulting, it's pretty demanding because. They give you, especially if the company charges a lot of money for you. So it all depends on how much they charge for you. But if they sell you as a top expert, you only get the toughest problems. And the customer who pays a lot of money, they expect a solution. And they're very stressed because they spend a lot of money on that. And then you are stressed because usually, if you charge a lot, they cannot buy you for like half a year. They buy you for days, weeks, maybe. Right? And so they give you the solution that they've been working on for 5 years. and it takes you just a day to run it or two, and so they expect the solution. So sometimes you can come up with the solution, sometimes you can't, and it's also stressful. So, but you can get good money there, of course. And then startups, to me, is the most interesting type of work, but then the most demanding, because if you have a small team, you don't have people who can, like if you don't do it, nobody will do it.
Yeah.
Usually, and then it's not a place for work-life balance.
Yeah.
Because again, like if the customer wants on Monday or something that you didn't have on Friday, so you have Saturday and Sunday. And it will be very difficult to explain to your boss why you didn't do the job, because in a startup, every single contract or customer can decide the fate of a startup, right? It's not the case for enterprise when you have 100 customers. So adding one can make a difference between reaching a goal or not, right? The target KPI. But it doesn't make a difference between surviving and not surviving.
Yeah.
In a startup, that is the case, right? These customers can get you the contract that you needed to raise around the money, right? That you needed to get more people so that you can finish whatever you were doing before.
Yeah. Startup is like maybe not all of them, because I don't know whether we can say that Uber is still the
on different stages. Yeah, I'm talking about like very early stage.
Very early stage. It's like creating your own company completely from scratch, and in the tough industry where it's already the big money in game, and big companies. So that's what makes it also pretty tough, that you could compete, you in the competition with also maybe some big companies who already have the knowledge, resources, and so on, and you are trying to create something unique with what might change the world, or how we are just doing the stuff in some areas of our life. So especially if this is pretty ambitious project. Okay, Max, so I think it was just the last question from my side. It was really a pleasure to talk with you, to meet you in person, because I really remember when I have been like learning, you was kind of the inspiration, and your legendary post when you just described your entire journey was something astonished, but also demotivating, because I wasn't able to work as hard as you was. And I think like a lot of people reading this kind of the articles, they are not always motivated, but also some of them are demotivated why I cannot, work these 15 hours. This guy is special and so on. But overall, it was more benefits from following you than disadvantages like this single article. It's of course that
I'll delete it. No,
please delete it, because it's demotivating till today. And as you have been, listening all these motivation speak from Rocky when you share your YouTube list, I'm just reading your article each day, and each day I start demotivated. But thank you for this one, and hopefully we will be able to grow together the great Angular community. And that's